One to another American TESOL Present Free Friday webinars. I'm Shelly, the host, and every Friday we are here, at least we've been here, for the last 2 years, and now we're going to have our third year. We have over 100 webinars. You can get a certificate for attending each one. You can also have access to the recording. They're only 30 minutes, and anyone can attend, so invite a friend. We have hundreds and hundreds of resources. All you have to do is go to the bit.ly address, bit.ly/ELT links, and it's all lowercase, okay? So today we're going to talk about Google Drive, and there's so many things that you can do with Google. Google is massive, so I could actually give you tons and tons and tons of webinars all on Google because it's such a wonderful tool. And if your school hasn't allowed or had Google within it, I really think that you should make that step. And I'm going to show you why. Especially for language teachers, it's extremely useful. So I'm going to show you some mind-blowing things that I've learned recently with just the Google Drive tool. Now, Google Drive used to be Google Docs. So if you're wondering about, it's made that change. And so it's a little confusing for some people, but don't worry, because you can always, if you have the Google Docs, then it's really easy to make it to Google Drive. The great thing about Google Drive is it's a presentation tool, but it also has where you can store stuff. So a lot of times our computers may not have that much memory, but when you create something on Google Drive, then it saves it there. So then you don't have to take up your computer's memory. So I think that's a really good thing for teachers. You get 15 gigabytes for free. Some of our own computers won't give you that. It's collaborative, so you can create, you can write an essay, or you can create a worksheet or a handout. Anything that you could do with Microsoft Word, you can do on Google. You can do things such as anything you could do, pretty much create a presentation like PowerPoint, you can do with Google Drive. But one of the great things about it is that you can make it collaborative. So because it's on Google, it has the ability that anyone with a Google Mail address, a Google account, which is free, all of these are free, can work with you, so you don't have to do it alone. It acts as a cloud. So what is a cloud? Well, now this is part of the internet. This is part of something we call Web 3.0. So the internet, it evolves. As it grows, we make it even more accessible and successful and productive for us, more effective. And so with the cloud, there's this cloud in the air, invisible cloud you can't see, where all your documents and all kinds of things can now be stored. And what that means is that anywhere you go, if you have even your mobile device and it's connected on the internet, or if you have your laptop or computer, or even if you go to an internet cafe, you can access any of your documents if you put them on something that saves it. Okay, so Google Drive has that ability. You can organize and share in folders, and then it's a free mobile app. It works on all formats, but it also works on your computer. So if you don't have a mobile device, that's okay. You do have to download the Google Drive app, and you'll know which one it is because you can put Google Drive, but also it has this symbol. That's the Google Drive symbol, so look for that. It also allows you to work with no internet access, which is my favorite part. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, what I mean by that is I travel a lot, and I don't have access to the internet all the time because I'm always traveling. So when you're traveling, if I want to make a worksheet or a handout or anything like that, I want to be able to do it, and then it can automatically sync or update when I am online. It saves me so much time. So I'm going to show you what this does. Where's my Google Drive? Okay, so these are the different Google tools that I have. Is my iPad any? And then you can see in the top corner is my Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. And then it gives me all the documents that I have created. So then what I do is I can work on that without an internet connection. But the only way that I can do that, so let's go ahead and open. Oh, it also allows you to do spreadsheets. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's see. Yard. Okay, so I'm going to wait for this to load, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So the way that Google helps you as a teacher, there are a few features. They're called tools. They're document creation tools, and I'll show you those, and I'll walk you through them. So if it's confusing now, don't worry. I'll show you what it looks like. There's apps that you can connect with. There are scripts, and there are templates. And so all of these, it's important to know. When you are wanting to create a document, or your students, you give them an assignment, they can either create a document like Microsoft Word, a presentation like PowerPoint, and it has different types of fonts. It lets you link. It's a very effective way to have a presentation. You can do transitions, all kinds of things. You can do a spreadsheet. You can create a form like a survey if you wanted to survey your students or parents, or just make a survey to collect information. You could do that. And you can even draw. You can draw on Google. So all of those are all free, and they're great ways to have assignments. You can do so many things with that. When you open it on your computer, when you go to drive.google.com, and you do have to create a Google account, which is free, and that's how you connect. So when you go to your Google Drive, this is what it looks like. You have all your documents listed. You can put them in folders. You can see what you had offline. And you can see all the collaborators are people who share documents with you. So let's start simple with Google presentations. This is what it looks like. This is actually what this is what one of my presentations looks like. You can see that I was collaborating with Leo Sullivan. So Leo is a teacher in Israel, and together we made this PowerPoint to train teachers in Israel. The great thing about Google presentations is you can upload all your PowerPoints to it. So I haven't completely done that yet, but that's one of the things that I'm working on. And the reason I would want to do that is because then I can work on my presentation almost anywhere, and it's accessible to me. I don't need just my computer, or if anything happens to my computer, I have it available. It has a group chat. You can always reverse changes, and it's a free app. You can add comments. You can create hotspots. You can also publish it to the web. So everything is right there. It saves you a lot of time because you don't have to make that step of uploading all the time. And that's one of the things that takes me so much time. It's already there. So all you have to do is press publish. People can download your presentation. So that's really nice as well. One of the great things you can do, so if you teach with PowerPoint and you have games or lectures or anything like that for your students, then you can always put them on Google. And when you create them there, your students will have access to them. You can share a template. So if you wanted them to make a presentation and you already had what they should do. So for example, they're doing an animal presentation or a career. That's one of the ones I've had. They do careers. And in the first slide, I want them to have the salary. In the I want them to have the career name. The second slide, I want them to have the salary. The third slide, I want them to have the countries that hire them, and the next one, the top colleges. So if I want them to do all that, then I can easily make a template and they can just fill in the information. So for your students, it makes them able to handle assignments more effectively. And that way they turn them in the way that you want them to turn them in. The other part is Google Docs. And Google Docs is like Microsoft Word, but you can do so much more. So you can have a group work on it. You can have a lot different comments and things like that. One of the things I want to show you really quick is you can have more than one person edit at a time, but the maximum you can have edit is 50, and the maximum you can have view it is 200. So that's something to be aware of, because I recently gave a presentation for 200, and so and then 400 as well. So these are things to keep in mind. This is what it looks like when you are having a chat. So the great thing about it is when you do group work, your students do group work, they can chat and they can fill out their handouts or worksheets or projects. They can brainstorm. And over here is the chat, and none of that goes in the document. So you wouldn't see that. That doesn't become part, so, but it helps them with the collaboration. One thing to note about the chat is the chat doesn't save. So it's only during that particular time that you'll see the chat. If you want to save the chat, then they're going to have to copy and paste that. When you click on File, so it has a lot of the same things that Microsoft Word: File, Edit, View, Insert, Format. It has your editing tools, it has your fonts, all of that. And one of the things you can do is you can either make a copy of the same documents, which I absolutely love. It saves so much time, especially when year after year I just have to adapt a little bit. You can click on download as, and you can download it as a PDF. You can download it as a Microsoft Word document, as an open online document. It has many different types of settings for that. You can move it to a folder, you can rename it, many different options. One of my favorite ways to use it is if you're writing papers, especially if you have your students write papers in MLA, APA format, any of those kind of formats, then it's very easy to create that format. It's very easy for your students. They click on the fonts, or they click on here next to the font, and this will show the title, subtitle, headings, and all of that. When they make the text in that heading, then they can click on the side here and they can go to, they can make it the way you want. So you can, for example, make it to MLA standards, and when you make it to MLA standards, then you can do update heading and match 1. And anything with heading 1 will be exactly like the same. It formats it all for you. You don't have to go and format every single title or anything. It does it automatically for you. So your students will love that, because then it saves them time with the formatting, and then they won't mess that up so much, because I know with my students, they did that often. Now, Peggy asked a very important question. Do you have to download something to get all those fonts? Mine came with it, but if you want more fonts, they have great fonts. But if you want more, it does give you the option on Google to download more fonts. And I believe it's under Format to do that. Or it might be under clicking the heading and the font. If you click up here, it's going to show you all of the changes you made, all the edits and revisions, which is very great when you are working collaboratively. If you make a mistake, if you erase something, you can always go back and go back to that change. You can make it private, or you can share with many people. It's up to you. You decide. You add people through email. You give them different types. You can make it to where they can edit. You can make it to where they can add other people. There's different options that you have. You can make it where they view it only. There's a lot of different options for privacy. And you get a link so people can go and they can access the document. Here, this is what it looks like, the visibility. You could put it where anyone on the web can see it. anyone with a link, or you can make it private. And if anyone going to that link, if it's on private, will not be able to see it. Only the people that you have put in the email will be able to see it. Oops. Okay, they couldn't process that one. You can add comments, and that's one of the best features. If you're having an essay that your students are trying and you want to add comments, then you can easily highlight and add comments. I can write text comments. You can also translate documents. If you're writing something for parents, if you're writing any kind of handout or anything like that, if you're teaching English language learners, you can click translate document and it automatically does it in a different language for you. If you're teaching, when I teach language learners, I've had up to 12 different countries. And when I want to make an email for my parents, then I easily just put it on Google Docs. And when I put it on Google Docs, I always write at the top, dear parent, and I put, please excuse this, I'm using Google Translate. But the translation is good enough. They can understand it, and they really appreciate it. Then I click Translate Document, and it's right there. There's so many options. You have to explore it yourself. You're going to love it. It's great for lesson planning. It's great to make your curriculum there, lesson plans, handouts, worksheets, everything. And it's great to collect student work and have them do those kinds of different papers or handouts and turn them into you easily that way. But there's even more tools that are mind-blowing. So let's get to those mind-blowing tools. These are the apps. If you go back to create, which is where you create your document, your PowerPoint, your spreadsheet, now at the bottom, so you click create, and at the bottom you have this, connect more apps. And when you connect more apps, there's so many magical things that happen. So you may have not seen this before because I hadn't seen it before until this year. What can we do with apps? Well, you have apps, you have games, you have entertainment, lifestyle, productivity. There's so many things you have. I'm going to show you a few because then it makes what these tools do, they're free, but what they do is they are added to your Google Drive and they make it this amazing, mind-blowing tool that just makes your job as a teacher so much easier. One of the ones that I love is called Kaiseronna. So, for example, some of the tools you have here is create a whiteboard. Your students can have a whiteboard in Google Drive. Pro Translate, tables, all kinds of cool stuff. You can make your Google Doc into a game. There's so many things. So one of the ones that I think is extremely useful for teachers is Kaiseronna. Kaiseronna gives you the ability to not only add text comments, but you can add voice comments. So you can speak and let your students know what they need to fix. So you add Kaiseronna, which is free, and then you go to your document and you have to right-click it. So right-click it, and when you right-click it, you have the option to open with. And then you want to open with Kaiseronna. This used to be Find Comments. Okay, I'm going to go back because Peggy asked a good question. So where do you find these again? So you go to create, like you would create a document or spreadsheet. And when you click on create, at the very, very bottom is connect more apps. And that's where you get these amazing tools. And then you have to go back and you have to right click and you have to put open with because they won't automatically show. You have to actually choose open with, and then you can click on the tool Kaiseronna. And then this is what Kaiseronna looks like. So this is what your new document looks like. It has a little sideboard here. And then when you highlight, it gives you a little pen and you highlight. You highlight where you want to add the comment, and it gives you the option to make a voice comment, a text comment, or to even tag it so your students can find all the comments together. This is what it looks like when you enable your voice, and then you just record and you can tell them things. In this particular line, you use the past tense when it would be more effective to use the present tense. Or could you please support this argument? Or I'm a little confused as what you're trying to say here. So there's so many different things that you can do. And what happens is when your student opens the same document again, then they see all these voice comments and they can listen to them. One of the things that I have my students do with this, or what I'm going to have them do, is they're actually going to provide that voice comment for each other. So they work in pairs, and then they get to add that voice comment as well. And then at the end, it tells you, it says how in each document, it gives you a number, how much feedback was given, and if your student received it, if they opened it and they listened to it. So you can see if they're actually looking at the different types of things that you've done. The great thing about it is you can also add links. You can add other things to support your comments, including text. And that's really great, because if you're trying to tell them something, for example, if you're saying, let's say that they wrote an essay and it's about the novel or the book you're reading, then you can give them a link that shows that particular section inside the novel. So for example, you let's say that they're writing about Jane Eyre or something, and then they said something one of the characters said, and you say, I'm not really sure that's what the character said, then you could actually give them a link to where they could review that again. So these are different options that you have that are really fantastic. Now, Kaiseronna is an app, but you can also have scripts. And scripts are, they're layerings over Google Docs. I know, that's confusing. But just know that scripts are so helpful. They make your Google Docs or your Google Drive fantastic and really incredible too. So there's actually hundreds of apps like Kaiseronna, but there's also some scripts out there, a lot of scripts that these programmers made that are really great for you. They're written in JavaScript, and they allow you to do more with Google products, but we're going to look at the ones with Google Drive. So you might say, well, Shelly, how am I going to assess this? I need an easy assessment. I need to be able to grade this. Well, one of the best ones is called Rubrics. And with Rubrics, it's a rubric. And what it does is when you go and you add rubric, and you can add it by going to rubrics.com. Rubrics. Well, you go to upd.org/doctopus. Okay, that's the name of this. And when you go there, then and you have this script added, then what it does is when you click on that student's worksheet or storyboard or essay or whatever they created, you click on the top and it automatically pops out a rubric, and you can grade it right there. So it saves you tons and tons and tons of time, because you don't have to go back and forth grading on a rubric. It automatically opens the rubric. Now, one of the things that I do is I create all my rubrics on Google Drive. And so all my rubrics, each time that I want to have an essay or anything like that, I just change it a little bit. So I'm not spending all this time making tons and tons of rubrics. I'm just adapting or making changes. And sometimes I even use other teachers, because Google gives you templates. So they give you rubrics and all these kinds of things that you can have available for you. It also allows you to leave comments after the rubric, so you can give them the score and they get the grade. The other thing is, okay, so Google, let's go back to Google Drive. One of the things you can do is you can create Google Forms. And the reason we're going back to Google Drive is because I'm going to show you a script for that that's going to make grading 100 students take 5 minutes. Right. So you have to do it with Google Forms. And with Google Forms, you can create quizzes, you can create tests. Let's say it's an end of the year test, and you have 100 questions, because a lot of us have those kind of tests. Well, you could grade all your students in like 5 minutes. How do we do this? Well, you have to first create the test, and so Google gives you all forms, a lot of options. You can title it, you add the question, you can add multiple choice, text, so you can do writing and paragraphs. There's so many different options that you can put. So after you created your test, and the great thing is it's up there for you. So each time you need to create the test again, but you need to make changes, it's very easy to make a copy and make the test again. You can, after you make those first tests or quizzes, then it takes you 5 minutes to make another one for the next year. So it saves you so much time, tons and tons of time. So I know it's a lot of information, but it's worth knowing because it'll literally save you hours each year. It'll save you at least a week of time with all of this stuff. So one of the things your Google Forms does is it also gives you a summary of responses, and that's one of my favorite parts of Google Forms. It makes it visual. So then if I can show in different types of graphs, it does this automatically for me. I didn't have to do this myself. So sometimes I have my students make Google Forms and they to gather information. They have to make a survey, and whatever information they collect, they integrate or they put inside their essays to support their arguments or to support their views or opinions. And it comes out in these beautiful charts, so they can even add that into their presentation. So they really like that. You can choose where you want the responses to go. So you can either keep them in a page, but why keep them in a page? It's so difficult to see that. So how can I see my responses in something very nice? Well, you can put it in a spreadsheet. You can even put it in an existing spreadsheet, or you can put it in a new one. You give it a title, and then it's going to put it, all of them, it can look like this. So this is a spreadsheet that I created, so you can do a lot of things. You can do it for counting, you can do it for taxes, you can do it for all kinds of different things. You can make schedules, you can even collect grades. My favorite way to grade is to use spreadsheets because you can put formulas. It works a lot like Microsoft Excel, except it does so much more. And so you can do all these fonts. It's really nice. All of your surveys can go there. It even tells you the time that they filled out the survey. So to give you what's called a timestamp. So when you add a script called Flubaroo, you can grade online assignments in one step. You get reporting and analysis on student performance, and then as soon as it grades it, it will even email each student their scores. So you don't even have to tell the student. It does all of that for you. You have 100 students. As soon as you grade, you just put okay, so you would just put, for example, a sort of like the answer. So you make the questions and then you put the answer. You put A is this, or 2 points, or you do your grading system. And as soon, yes, Peggy, that's a great question. She says, do the students only see their own results or everyone in the class? No, the student only sees their own results unless you share with everyone. But they only see theirs. So as soon as you put the grading key, the answer key, then it'll grade it automatically for you. It's sort of like when you have the Scantrons and you put it through the machine and it grades it automatically for you. Well, that's what Google will do. It'll automatically grade everything for you, except when you grade, it grades it all for you. It even does the extra step of emailing the score to the student. So then it takes care of everything all at once. You just got to download that script. So go to Flubaroo.com and it's going to walk you through it. It's going to give you step-by-step guide. It's going to tell you how to use it and different templates they have and all of this. So this, for example, is a geography quiz right here that a teacher made. And then once they have Flubaroo, they click there. They click Flubaroo, grade assignment, and there you can see it puts in a spreadsheet and it has all the assignments graded. You have all the questions and everything like that. And it walks you through it. It even gives you sample quizzes and templates from teachers. You can also, so another great feature of Google, so we're going to wrap up soon, but I want to show you another great, awesome tool that I think is awesome, is that you can take a screenshot of any text and this converts it to edit. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, sometimes I'm working on a blog post, or sometimes I'm working on an essay, or sometimes your students are. For example, I'm going to put one up. So this is one of the essays. It's coming up. Taking forever, but okay. And let's say that my screen freezes, or my that website for some reason is crashing, because that happens to us a lot. Or let's say that I'm at the museum and I see this text and I want to take a picture of it because I want that information to review later. Well, one of the things you can do is you take a screenshot, or you take a picture of it. You just take a picture of the text. And when you go to Google, you click here, you can upload. So when you upload, make sure you click convert text from PDF and image files to Google Documents. You can even select the language. So then you start the upload, and when you upload it, this is one that I took of my blog post. So this is the picture. I can't edit it because it's a picture. But then when I click that, this is what it looks like in Google Docs. So it comes out in Google Docs, and now it's converted it to text, so I can go and I can edit all of that. So I love that feature, because anytime I have anything that I want to take a picture of, like a manual or anything like that, it'll automatically put the text up, so that way I can edit the text. It's very, very cool. You can find so many different types of these types of tricks. There's many, many more. It makes being a teacher so much easier. If you go to Google and you learn these tricks, it'll make your job easier. You'll save lots of time. And if you can convince your school to really do grading and everything through Google, it's free. But if your students have the Google accounts and everything like that, there's so much that you can just do, and you can collaborate, you can make presentations, spreadsheets, you can put all your curriculum up there, you can do your grading, and it just makes your life so much easier. So I'm going to give you all the links. You can find the links, and you can download your certificate at these different, oh, well, I didn't do that very well, did I? Let me go ahead and put those for you, and then there you go. You can have all these tools to explore later. You can always contact me at shellyterrell.com, or on Twitter, I'm Shell Terrell. So thank you so much, and I hope this saves you time, and that you can have some great peer editing, and that you can have your students comment on each other's work, and they really enjoy it. I think that one of the things and the problems with feedback is our students won't be able to, aren't always motivated to look at our feedback, especially if it's written. But if we do it through audio comments, then it makes it so much more effective, because our students will actually be curious to hear what we said. And Peggy, what were the questions that you asked? Because I Oh, okay, so that's a good question. So Peggy asked, can you embed the summary responses on another site like a wiki? You can't embed the responses, but what I do is I take a screenshot and then I add them. You can, well, actually you can, but okay. So you can, that's a great question. You can embed a form, and maybe Alexandra on her blog post, she has that where it's embedded on your wiki. So you can embed the Google form on any website or wiki. You can do that. And then you can click an option at the bottom of the wiki. And when you click that option, I mean on the bottom of your form when you make it, and it says after they answer, they can see the results. And I think that as soon as, if you click that, then yes, it'll show them, it'll show them the summary responses. But if you don't click it, so after they take the survey, they should be able to see it. But if you don't click it, then they won't be able to see it. And that's obvious for privacy issues. Okay, that's a good question. So the way you can take a screenshot from my Mac, I usually do Command-Shift-4. If you have something like Jing.com, then you can do it with Jing. There's a lot of different places that you can take. I don't know on a PC how you would take the screenshot. I know on a mobile device, so if you have a mobile, even if you have an Android, usually if you click this button, the bottom button, and you click the top button, it'll take your screenshot. See, and it just took the shot there. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so Alexandra says on her PC she uses the scissors icon. Yes, okay, so Peggy says, what can you do if you add one of the photo apps like PicMonkey? What it does is it will store on your Google Drive as a picture. But with some of the apps, you might have to also open, no, it doesn't, that's a good question. It doesn't store it in a Google Doc, it stores it on a, it stores it as a picture. But you can edit those pictures and you can import them in your Google Docs. Well, but it's very easy to, one of the things that Google Docs allows you to do is drag and drop. So if you actually get your picture, often you can just drag it into your doc and it'll show up, which is very cool as well.